Hi, Subhrajit. So, welcome to the Sports Law Stage podcast. So, first of all, I have to say thank you so much for coming on board for the second episode of our podcast. So, my first question for you was, how was your journey started from school life to the Amity Law School? You pursued your undergrad in law from the Amity. So, how was your journey?
So the journey, first of all, before starting the journey, I will say thank you, Tushar, for inviting me on this platform. So now coming to a journey. So journey is like more like the Indian tradition family, right? And we
Mhm.
Indian tradition family have a issue with the parents, right?
Yeah.
So it's like only what your parents decide for you, right? So it's not like what you decide. So parents started parents want me to become an engineer, right? And they also pressurized me to go for AIEEE. And our time there was a AIEEE. See, I am not a IIT candidate, right? So
Mhm.
I told my father I am not IIT candidate, so don't take me there. So it will be a waste of money.
Yeah.
Yes, you can take me to AIEEE, and back in 2012 we have AIEEE, right?
Mhm.
This, now it's changed to what main and IIT has two platforms, right?
Yeah.
One is main and another one I forgot
Advanced
the
level. Yeah. Main.
advanced level, right? The main is the NIT one, which was that
Mm.
time AIEEE.
Yeah.
So yes, I done my AIEEE. Then I ranked some like that was the topic, the rank. That was something 1,000 all over India.
Mm.
So the parents were happy. Okay, my son is going to be engineer.
Mm.
Then another side, it was like for this architecture part. Even I scored there also, and I was in both the platform. I was going for the NITs. But suddenly I was like with my parents like, father, I don't want to be engineer. So actually, mostly in family, everyone is engineer, right?
Mm.
So I want to try something different. And frankly speaking, if you come from something a background, we have an engineer background. It's mostly like they don't care about the other exam, right? So
Mhm.
for them, like go for AIEEE, IIT. After that, at most you can go for CAT, sit for the CAT, crack it. If you don't, no worries. So I told him, Baba, I want to go for law degree. So law is something I'm looking for. So it was like law. It mean like law means you will be sitting under a tree
Mhm.
with umbrella. Right. So see, this is even it was not a wrong view from his side also, right? See, people, if I see lawyer, they ask like normally people see what type of lawyer, like district court and high court lawyers.
Mhm.
We sometimes does not go to these big law firms, right? So that's a tradition view. Like
Mm.
lawyers, when they will sit under the tree with umbrella,
Yeah.
right? So I was like, no, but I am not thinking that type of lawyer. I was thinking something, like big lawyers, like in law firms and all. So like, okay, so Kamao, like I don't know how many Hindi people will be listening you, audience will be listening you. So there is a saying like, "Ka- कितने कमाओगे, right? कितना
Mm.
कमाओगे?
Yeah.
So that is something in English we will say like how much you will earn.
Yeah.
So I was like, see, the earning is if I go for some good law firms, earning will be good. So yeah, I started there for and yeah, like from MC. No one cares for National Law School. My family, what a National Law School. We
Mm.
don't know that.
Yeah.
So I joined Amity Law School because that time Amity Law School Jaipur was the one who was taking their intake. I joined them, started my career there, and before that I used to play football.
Mm.
So and luckily by that time, I think 2013, uh, Visupat Singhania, sir,
Yeah.
he came out with a book of
Mm.
sports law, right? See, if you say sports law, that time also it was a trending and it was really good trending. Like people are
Yes.
thinking about that. 2013 book came and I think 2016 your GNLU.
Mm.
GNLU started the sports law thing. So 2013 I went through that book, the part one of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, from that the law career started and from that take me over to choose my decision where to go. I played for Sports Authority of India for certain period of time,
Mm.
long period of time, and not say certain but certain long period of time.
Mm.
So now I was like aware of these rules and all, but the field level I want to learn that, and there was to be injuries. So after that, I focused fully on the other side of the law, right, the behind the curtain one.
Mm.
So from that it started. So even in my college days, like 2016, I was talking with one of the professor. Like he was a director. So it happened like he was saying to me, like, I was asking him to, can I join to this national law school, right? GNU, when they started the certificate course,
Yeah.
they were something like,
Mm.
he was something like, back in 2016, like, what will you do after studying sports law?
Mm.
So his view was something like, study constitution. You have to develop constitution, and all. So I was like, sir, you are, I can, with respect, you are looking someone like you are giving a old perspective, right? Think of the new one. See, constitution is already done. The
Mm.
thing which you can do in constitution is amend it.
Yeah.
Right? You just amend it. But just, I am telling you, as your student, within 2 years, this will be the trend for everyone. Just like the thing which is going for corporate law.
Mhm.
Within 2 years, post law will be another field. Right. So that's the reason I want to develop myself in sports law, and I have no interest in constitution. So why should I, like, it's like a banging your head in the wall
Yeah.
because you don't have any interest. What to start there? So this is how everything started.
Great, great. And my second follow-up question would be, you have a very deep interest in sports, and then further you went to the Nottingham Trent University, and you pursued your master's in sports law. How did that happen? Because earlier you went to the UPES and you completed your master's in energy law. So how was the transition begin from that time?
Okay, so see, I don't want to like discourage anyone on that. The transaction is something different. Like you see, this is something a very huge problem in India,
Yeah.
right? So what's happened? Like I have done my LLB honors. That's in international trade,
Yeah.
right? And institute have a degree. That institute have a degree which was known as United Nations Law,
Hmm.
right? So when I started like the development of sports interest toward the sports law, it started from 2013 itself, right?
Hmm.
So that is the reason I taken international trade law because see there is certain in if you have learned international trade law, obviously you have started like you have learned
Hmm.
these policies like GATS policies and all. We know four type of servicing and all. So these services can be related to the sports, right? What anything, broadcasting, coach, everything is there in this four mode of service. So what I started more to was to go to learn this United Nations law.
Hmm.
But in India we have very bad practice of a thing which is like as you are also done you're doing graduation post graduation sorry
Yes.
from UK.
Yeah.
So like you also know one thing, Tushar, in UK and the Western world, from the first day itself they will teach you the subject which you have enrolled with, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
If you're enrolled with sports law, it will teach you sports law first day, whether you're a single student,
Hmm.
whether you're a 10 student, right? But in
Yeah.
India we have a concept, the first, like also here is also 1 year.
Hmm.
But the first sim will be like they will teach you the normal laws which you have gone through, right? The
Hmm.
legal method. Again, that will you repeat. Then in second year, they will give you a specialization.
Hmm.
But there is a clause, right? The condition clause. So
Hmm.
the condition is you if minimum there should be a 6 student for
Yeah.
the subject, right? In India. And this is different for university. So UGC has not mandated anything like okay, there should be 5 student or a single student, then only
Hmm.
you can teach that. But the university's policies are something different.
Yeah.
So in UPS, they have a policy that you have to bring 5 students to teach to learn this
Yeah.
international trade law,
Yeah.
right, and the United Nations law.
Hmm.
So yeah, I started like that way. Like so, they asked me either you have to leave the course then, or
Hmm.
either you pursue anything. There was a professor that he asked me like, see, you already know international trade law. We know that. Like you have a deep knowledge on that. So there is no worry. So why you will be wasting your 6 months? See,
Hmm.
there is only 6 months. The 5 months would be let's see the November, December. 5 months is left. So why you wasting that? So I moved toward the energy law because there's certain prospect of the trade policies are there also in energy.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's helped me a lot. But that is done without any like without the any enthusiast in you, right? It's just like you can say Rahul Dravid been asked to be keeping, right?
Yeah.
But he is also doing it right way.
Yeah.
So that is the
Hmm.
thing. So luckily, I got CGPA something 7.6 in
Hmm.
energy law. That was out of my interest also.
Yeah. It's above 7. It's already great. Yeah.
So that is how. But my main interest was in sports. So soon after that, even in UPS also, I was taken interview in that. There is a university, I think you know it, University of Real Madrid Studio. There is
Yeah,
a,
yeah, yeah.
right. So I got a call from there.
Hmm.
Right. So everything was done. So I'm not a Real Madrid fan. That is not the fact. Like I haven't chosen university.
Hmm.
Then I searched a little. I found out like the book of sports law, the first book of sports law, which was with the Routledge, right?
Yeah.
And the Maroon one, where you will find Simon Boy, Simon
Yes.
Gardner, right?
Yes.
One Indian author is also there. I'm forgetting his name.
Hmm.
So this book, so I was going through that book, and there I find out like the name of Simon Boyce, and he was in Nottingham Trent University,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Then I moved. Then I searched about Nottingham Trent, and in so Nottingham Trent University law school is known as Nottingham Law School, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So I find out Nottingham Law School somewhere in fifth position, somewhere in the fourth position, and somewhere you will find it in like, it's different, right? Fourth, fifth, sixth, fourth, fifth, sixth. So I
Yeah.
went, okay. So each and every magazine, it's in something fourth, fifth, sixth. So I can pursue go for that. Another thing, which why I choose Nottingham Trent, the degree of Nottingham Trent,
Hmm.
right, is Bar Council of India,
Yes.
right? Mostly, like some of the universities degree away from UK are Bar Council of India,
Yeah. Hmm.
but Nottingham Law School degrees Bar Council of India, whether you're
Hmm.
for masters or for like undergraduate.
Undergraduate.
So see, and now you know in India, like these policies
Yeah.
changes every day. And tomorrow they will say like, okay, today they are saying the master's things is like there is no binding of thing like you have to do from this university, or for bar council Indian university. Right? There is nothing like that saying. But you
Hmm.
don't know what will be happening in the future. Maybe
Hmm.
tomorrow they will say like, okay, not an, like the LLM, the PG degree which you are from bar council India approved, that will be only considered.
Hmm.
That will be considered only. Then the sports law degree of mine will be like in vain. Like
Hmm.
so, the people will consider that okay, we have an energy law degree, we don't have sports law degree.
Hmm.
So for staying in the better side,
Hmm.
I choose Nottingham Trent University. Okay, at least this is Bar Council India approved. And I was also starting to know some of the even many reputed university of US also. I will not take the names of this university. Okay,
Hmm.
they are also not Bar Council India approved.
Yeah.
Whereas Pakistan's university, Bangladesh university are Bar
Yes.
Council India approved.
Yeah. They are. There is a list from the Bar Council of India. There are, I think, 13 UK universities are approved by the Bar Council of India.
That is really shocking,
Yeah.
right? Even the like some of the reputed universities are there in Europe also.
Yeah.
You will not find any of that
Hmm.
university in Bar Council. Mostly why UK? That was a 13 university. I'm telling you because we were one the colonies of British Empire,
Commonwealth nations.
right?
Hmm.
Yeah, that was so. At previous it was British Commonwealth nation.
Yeah.
Then after like Nehru requested, but if Nehru requested, then it was changed into
Hmm.
Commonwealth nation. So the name matters. So that is the reason still now. And see, if you search on these universities, which are the
Hmm.
Barcos India approved, you will find most of our leaders
Hmm.
are from this university, right?
Yes. Yes.
Gandhiji's university also in Barcos India
Yeah.
approved, right?
Yeah.
So these are the same. I mean, Pakistan, I think some of the well-known leaders who, when they migrate from
Hmm.
Pakistan to India,
Hmm.
their universities also Barcos India approved. I think Manmohan Singh sir has done something
There are
from
four universities. If I clearly remember, the four
Sindh
universities.
University.
Sin
That is also
University.
Barcos,
Yeah.
Barcos India approved. So these are the stories.
Hmm. Yeah, great, great. So yeah, the next follow-up question would be: how is your experience by working with the Professor Shaun Star and with Professor Simon Boyce, and how they impacted your career, especially in sports law?
So it was like I will say like started from Simon Boyce,
Yeah.
Professor Simon Boyce. So yeah, he is a gentleman,
Hmm.
right? So getting a knowledge directly from him was something like really I will say inspiration in my life,
Hmm.
right? And if you say Professor Star, he started something like I was trying to pursue PhD.
Hmm.
So I applied with I think Simon Gardner, right? So he asked me to move toward Dr. Magdal,
Hmm.
David Magdal,
David Beckham.
that's Stirling University.
Hmm.
From there, I went to Jack Anderson.
Hmm.
From there, I met Professor Star. Right, but that time I was not employed in Jindal.
Hmm.
So that time also I was a student only. Then, like the career of a sports law started by his blessing only. So I will just say like even Professor Star knows that. So for me, he is like a Stark. I will not say Stark. I will say Stark, right? Stark industry Stark, and
Yeah.
maybe I am his Peter Parker.
Yeah.
So this is how he started, and like yeah, he's also one of these like well-known, reputed professors in the
Yes.
world, right?
Yeah.
And working directly under him is something really amazed me, right? And he also inspired me to write in Scopus. What are you doing writing Scopus? I always push the thing out. So
Hmm.
yeah, I think my third publication in Scopus is going to come soon.
Hmm.
And even he was also one the latest one. First one came with him only.
Hmm.
Then the second was is something like regarding space thought. He was like, "What happened from sports to space? Are you not writing in sports?" I was like, "Sir, I'm writing in sports, but in between this is another side, right?"
Hmm.
So, but no doubt there are in space and sports. In both we have SP,
Hmm.
right? SPORT sports, SPSE space. So as I am in touch with that word, so no worries on that. The letters, I am in
Hmm.
touch, so no worries on that. So I'm writing a paper on that. No, so recently I've written also a paper on that's on the evaluation.
Hmm.
So the Scopus publication take a like it's a I would say a lot of time, right?
Yes.
So yes, so it's in evaluation. Let's see how it goes on. Something on Olympic. One is the caster and one is in Olympic. So both are in.
Hmm.
Let's see how that goes.
Hmm. So great, great. So the next question would be: you came back to India and then you joined Jindal Global Law School, where you are right now the assistant lecturer as well as the faculty member of Center for Sports Law and Business and Governance. How is your experience till now as an academician?
Well, started in Jindal, but before that, for certain period of time, I was in Symbiosis Law School, Hyderabad,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
So there also there was like like when like I will not like I'm not putting anything on the professors and all. They know that they're old, right? So their mentality is towards traditional,
Hmm.
right? Even there also they will say no, what's happening in sports now? Still now,
Hmm.
tomorrow itself, like I will not take anyone. I was going to some Vipers and all, so I'm telling you everything. So like in Viva, I'm trying to developing a sports law, proper sports law, and that's my PhD topic.
Hmm.
And the supervisor team, they were asking me like, why are not using any SP for Excel sheet on the form and all. I was like, see, first of all, this is something, it's towards developing a sportsman in India. There was like, so it was something the name changed that they went to developing sportsman in India to critical analytic of sportsman in India. Okay.
Hmm.
Then another professor came. So you are saying sports. So what do you mean by sports? Are you including? See, for me, just listen. Just listen. You will like you will also in somewhere like what's going on.
Hmm.
That's me. So what do you mean by sport? Cricket, football are not sport. They are games. Well, that's
Hmm.
it. What's wrong with you? I just it being a being a PhD candidate it came from my master. Then so it was they will say like I have attitude. No,
Hmm.
it's not attitude. I'm just asking the panel. I asked this question to panel. So what is
Hmm.
your definition of sports? Well, like see, sports again he was changed. Like sports is something which we play in field. That is sport. And chess and all they are games. But like
Hmm.
so first of all, go to the definition of sports.
Hmm.
It came from the word sport and that's meant to carry away.
Hmm.
Right. And there are some fundamental points in sports. What are those? There should be a competition,
Hmm.
right? Any type of competition will be there. Fundamental points. Then there should be a coordination between your brain and your body when you're conducting that game
Hmm.
or that sport. Like game and sport both are same thing.
Hmm.
So sports is something that's a sports law. That's the reason even under sports law come athlete, chess,
Hmm.
everything because everything which you are doing have a brain and in body coordination with that. Right? Thinking
Hmm.
chess also have a coordination of that. Even strategy is another thing. So what are you saying, sir? And they thought I have some attitudes. I also don't care on that thing. Like their thing. Because if I know I am truth on the fact, then I am truth on the fact.
Mhm.
And many academicians nowadays say like they also know sports law.
Mhm.
And how they know sports law? By reading the book. So by reading the book and learning sports is something different, right?
Yes.
It's like not learning the thing. It's like you don't have a practice. You just like you just buggy up the things.
Mhm.
And being a radio or nowadays we don't have the cassette and CDs with us, so we will say some recording.
Mhm.
So why should a student come to you?
Mhm.
There's someone asking, so what do you understand by sports law? So sports law we already have in India. I was like, where is that? I was asking, where is that sports law in India? We
Mhm.
don't have any proper legislation. We have policies in sports law, but we don't have a proper act in sports law. People are saying in niche area. And even many reputed lawyers are saying that's in niche area.
Mhm.
Then, sir, you are saying we have sports law. Show me the act.
Mhm.
Then you were saying, we have what in entry 33 and all. Sir, see, the entry 33 was something different story because that
Mhm.
time the entry 45, 1949 I'm talking about, that changed to entry 34
Yeah.
nowadays instead. What is that about betting and gambling laws?
Mhm.
So for putting betting and gambling laws, that's the reason we asked for entry 33,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
So just for the sake of, and that's also state list. Right, so
Mhm.
national body doesn't have any power to do anything. That
Mhm.
also is state list. So we are not care of sports law. Even if we say something is sports law, they will like, what is this?
Mhm.
Sports law and all. So this is really vague in India. So I was also planning to switch the things.
Mhm.
Let's see how it just goes on. So yeah, before now the thing is like I started somewhere in before Jindal.
Mhm.
I started somewhere in Symbiosis Law School-Hyderabad.
Mhm.
Even they have a center of sports law, but that
Yeah.
was just is the sake of the name. They have a center,
Mhm.
but, but no one cares of that.
Mhm.
So I moved there. Then 2-3 event I have done there to make that active
Mhm.
because sports law means keep that at a side,
Mhm.
right? No one cares and all. But the mentality is like we need to change the traditional mentality.
Mhm.
Only the young mind can be changed there because the traditional mentality they will only think of the corporate law,
Mhm.
then constitution, criminal law.
Mhm.
There are many segments of sports law and criminal laws, right? You also
Yeah.
know that, I also know that,
Mhm.
but they don't know that.
Mhm.
Sports law is a very broad topic
Mhm.
itself.
Mhm.
Right? It is many things from IP laws to trot,
Mhm.
stadium safety, criminal, broadcasting,
Mhm.
everything is there,
Mhm.
right? But it's a certain different domain of that.
Mhm.
Even if I say to people like free movement of players and all,
Mhm.
they will say it's a labor law issue. No, after the Bosman case,
Mhm.
it was totally changed to the sports law. If Bosman was not there,
Yeah.
even the free movement of labor law, the Article 45 of TEFU will be not there.
Mhm.
That only started by the sports law itself.
Agree. Agree.
But in India, we don't care anything on
Mhm.
like that.
Yeah.
India, many people also say, why we go for RSTP, the
Mhm.
this regulation of statutory of transfer of player of
Mhm.
FIFA.
Mhm.
They will say we can do the Indian Contract Act. But why? Because if you are doing a contract act and you are
Mhm.
just putting the logo of India,
Mhm.
what will be happening? Today you are sitting in India doing a contract.
Mhm.
Tomorrow you are moving out from the country also through some international flights or some international ship.
Yeah.
So it's obviously within that international flight means if that flight is carrying a national flag of that
Mhm.
country, it means that a floating island of that country. So India jurisdiction no power on that.
Mhm.
So a reputed organization like FIFA has done something.
Mhm.
They have think something. Then they created like that
Mhm.
RSTP, so they can control all over the world. But in India, we see something different. Just to think one thing, like there was I don't know Tushar you have gone through this case or not. The
Mhm.
Article 12 case, which we say something around the Magna Carta of Indian sports law, the BCCI, the G
Yes. Yes. Z
uh,
Telefilms case.
and another versus BCCI and
Yeah.
others.
Yeah.
The
BCCI.
Union of India,
Yeah.
then it changed to Union of India.
Yes.
And
2005.
sitting
I think this is a 2005 case.
perfect 2005
Mhm.
perfect. So what happened in that case?
Mhm.
That was something regarding the broadcasting issue, right?
Yes. Yes.
That leasing issue and all,
Mhm.
but it changed to something different.
Yeah.
What was that? It's something different means that changed to from the first question came in the bench was whether BCCI
Mm-hmm.
is your state or not,
Mm-hmm.
right? And luckily they have a very reputed lawyer in his side, Hari
Mm-hmm.
Salve,
Yeah.
right? Hari Salve mentioned one thing that why you are not putting BCCI as a state, which he was saying like it's a private body.
Mm-hmm.
They have established this under Society Regulation Act.
Tamil Nadu Society Regulation Act at that time when it
Yes,
was registered, I think 1930. I think if I remember.
yes. So see, there is a I think there is organization scientific something I forget his name
Mm-hmm.
in Subhajit Singh case, right?
Mm-hmm.
Subhajit and versus Union of India.
Mm-hmm.
So there was an organization which was settled themselves on the same Society Regulation Act,
Mm-hmm.
right? And they have mentioned themselves under other authorities of 12,
Mm-hmm.
Article 12. Even not only that, even the Airport Authority of India,
Mm-hmm.
even International Airport Authority of India have their own Airport Authority Act,
Yeah.
and they have. So it's not a government body.
Mm-hmm.
It's not representing state, but it's representing state under other authorities
Other
of Article
authorities.
12.
Yeah. Yeah.
So why not BCCI? Same thing,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
So then they decided, okay. So four judges were against that. Like it was most like and it's fact for me. Like it's a fact that four judges were saying no, it's not a state, and one is
Mm-hmm.
saying okay, it's a state.
Mm-hmm.
So that it means that one is has a perfect knowledge, and
Mm-hmm.
four is opposing him.
Mm-hmm.
This is our structure in India. Even like the what about our governing structure? Wherever you study the governing structure, there is a saying like a pyramid structure should be followed.
Mm-hmm.
But in India, we like one party is fighting with another.
Mm-hmm.
We have NSF, we have SAI, we have IOA.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Normally, if you think IOA is supreme body because Olympic charters mention that that is another. If someone can oppose me in this, so how can you say Olympic Association is the one
Mm-hmm.
which is a supreme body?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So I will give them a straightforward one example. Right? What is that example? It's something you know. We know what happened with Russia,
Mm.
right? The mass doping case
Yes.
sponsored by
2016.
the
Yeah.
government.
Yeah. State sponsored doping case. It's a very interesting documentary which was released in I think 2016 or 18. I don't remember
Yes,
it.
so now come to the point now.
Mm.
Like let me come to the point, Tushar.
Mm.
So we have seen this Tokyo Olympic.
Mm-hmm.
We have seen the athletes of Russia,
Mm-hmm.
but not playing under Russia.
Mm.
They are playing under ROC,
Yeah.
right? Russian Olympic Committee.
Yes.
And this is the biggest example that the Olympic Committee has very strong hold and has a very like it has a power, strong power,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
Than the state himself.
Mm.
Because International Olympic Committee is something it has charter
Mm.
and we say rules, just like what's happened in our United Nations,
Mm.
right? That is also a separate organization. That's also charters and have rules.
Mm.
Same thing is Olympic. So in India, Olympics Association also established themselves as a society act.
Mm.
When Olympic Committee mentioning something
Mm.
that you have to develop under the Olympic charters, and in India we are doing something different,
Mm.
and then we are shouting that we have to bring Olympic in India.
Mm-hmm.
If also Olympic comes in India, that will be not fully Olympic sponsored.
Mm.
Is like, these are some typical scenario. So yes, now after coming to Jindal, we are working on this because
Mm.
the person, the leader we have now,
Mm-hmm.
is himself a sports law enthusiast and a specialist,
Mm-hmm.
and who can guide you in many things.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the thing. This is the reason we are not progressing. We are trying to get in something on that. So this is how it's going on.
Okay. It ask again one that is a specific question. What are the things that the student can do right now in their law school? Even there's a lack of opportunity in the sports and legal industry if they want to pursue in their career and especially in this sports industry right now.
See, if we're saying like sports industry and also, let me come to from the basic
Mm-hmm.
thing, right? So see, another I will give an example for
Mm-hmm.
mythology, right? everyone gone through this
Yeah.
Mahabharata, right? So those who like mostly, I think mostly of your audience are Indian,
Yeah.
right?
International Indian.
So right, so even like if you're going for Mahabharata,
Mm-hmm.
also there's some characters, right? One of them is
Yeah.
Eklavya. So, and we know like Eklavya does not have any
Mm-hmm.
teacher in front of him, right? But he was also one of this greatest like archer of
Mm-hmm.
that time, who was competing with Arjun. But Arjun have
Yeah.
Dronacharya, right? We say Arjun have Dronacharya and Arjun was one of the
Hmm.
greatest, but come to the point of
Yeah.
Eklavya. Eklavya does not have
Yeah.
any teacher. He just put a statue of
Hmm.
Dronacharya in front of himself, and he was just practicing of himself. That make him
Yeah.
perfect, right? And that is the even the Western world say the practice make a man
Yeah.
perfect. Before that, also we have an example
Hmm.
with us, right? That time English was like the people who made this
Mm-hmm.
word practice make a man
Hmm.
perfect. So Mahabharata is an epic which was much more before than that happened before than that. We have seen the example
Yeah.
in there. So if you don't have a sports law teacher in front of
Hmm.
yourself, obviously you know who are they.
Hmm.
You can mail them. You can take a guide from
Mm-hmm.
them. And another thing which you can do, yes, you can. The thing which you need to be,
Hmm.
you have to be curious in your
Yeah.
mind, right? Why this happened? Why this is not happening? That if this is happening in one country, why this is not happening in this country,
Mm-hmm.
right? So for that, you have to be curious in your mind. So when you're curious in mind, some question will come in
Mm-hmm.
your mind, and on the basis of that question, you can write
Mm-hmm.
articles, blogs. More than blogs, I will focus on
Yeah.
articles. See, for blog, how many hours you will need for writing a blog?
Hmm.
Hardly somewhere around 2 hours.
Oh,
Or max if
maximum
you're lagging
3 hours.
something,
That's it.
right? But if you're writing an article, you have to do research on that
Mm-hmm.
article, right? So I'm just taking a small example of article. Let's say you are writing something around athlete with regards to human
Mm-hmm.
right. Right now, people are writing human rights, so people mostly write towards the female
Yeah.
and male. Now, I want to write something
Mm-hmm.
new. Just what to do something new, something towards the LGBT
Mm-hmm.
community, because they are also coming
Yeah.
forward. FIFA also have a
Mm-hmm.
rule regarding LGBT community after John came in part of a football
Mm-hmm.
team. So even in UFC having nowadays transgender player
Yeah.
there,
Yeah.
right? Olympic we also seen a heavyweight
Yes. It's
lifter.
from New Zealand. Yeah.
We also
Yeah.
right. So now what are the rules on that? Because in Olympic don't have
Mm-hmm.
rules. So how you can develop that? So these are some curiosity questions that should be coming
Yeah.
in your mind. A basis of that you will
Mm-hmm.
research, and whenever you are researching, automatically knowledge is going
Mm-hmm.
inside. And I think for that you does not need any
Mm-hmm.
professors or any
Yeah.
teachers. The role of professor and teachers come into that part where you need certain
Yeah.
guidance. So after and what happened like after you writing that
Mm-hmm.
article, just mail to any
Mm-hmm.
professors who are specialized in sports in
Mm-hmm.
India, right? Whether it's Tarun Singh, whether it's Professor
Mm-hmm.
Star, whether it's Nishan. I will not take my name, okay? So I'm not advertising myself, okay? So there are some people in India we have a specialization. So if you mail them, if they don't have time, but they will
Yeah.
encourage you, right? And they will like, no, you do this, you have followed, mention
Mm-hmm.
this. Again, you will be like after the editing part
Mm-hmm.
complete,
Mm-hmm.
right? Then again you will think on that. Again you will intake something from the other
Mm-hmm.
script. I will not just give
Mm-hmm.
articles. Then you will develop
Yeah.
that. So Tushar, this is something. This is how we
Mm-hmm.
can develop sportsman in India. So people I have heard from like many students also, sir, we don't have sportsman association in
Mm-hmm.
India. We don't have professor in
Mm-hmm.
India. Okay, if you so much enthusiast to go for learning or you want to create listen
Mm-hmm.
lectures, right? What you can do? Either you can nowadays many sports law platforms are
Yeah.
there, right? Who will be providing a 2 day 3 day
Yeah.
workshop. Go
Mm-hmm.
to that, right? Or you can ask your department that because mostly nowadays university having center of
Yeah.
sports law to go for some conference, to attend some conference, or to make a guest faculty,
Yeah.
call them for 2 3
Mm-hmm.
days, right? You can do that. So this is how you can develop yourself, right? What I given you the example is, I think, the best example illustration of, I will legal with
Yeah.
illustration. So best example is
Yeah.
Eklavya one. Without any teacher, he has done something because he has done practice. He has his own mindset of like, we have to do that. To tell you one thing, like some way back when like before I forgot, like Singhania sir, then Kamat sir
Yeah.
was there. There was no, like, even Hala Malhotra ma'am is also there. So I'm taking the Indian person.
Yeah.
I'm not taking the other people, like world with concept. That time also, when, so they have suffered much more than what you are suffering, what I
Yeah.
have suffering. Because that time also, like, people don't have a think of sports law, but they have done themselves. So this, they can be your greatest
Yeah.
example, and this is how you can
Yeah,
develop.
they are the most prominent figures right now in the current generation that we having.
Why? Why we have that? Because they are the first generation
Yeah,
of the sports player,
absolutely,
right?
absolutely, agree.
Then this, and then come the second
Yeah,
generation, right? Like from second generation, I
you,
have
Tarun sir, Nishan Shukhan.
no. We have the third generation, right? Second generation, we have Deep
Yeah,
Sir.
Deep Ray. Yeah,
Then Rustam
Rustam
Snetia, sir,
Setna.
I think he's in London, but take the Indian
Yes.
process. So we are not considering Rustam Snetia, sir, because he's there.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's like, it's a funny thing, like he's doing something Indian, is there. So, but in India, someone sitting in India. So it's Deep Sir. I think you know also that Deep Sir is
Yeah.
one who has his own law
Yeah.
firm in
Yeah. With
Spain.
Jesse Angel Hart, he started a law firm with her.
So this is something like, they're the second generation.
Yeah.
Okay, then come the third generation,
Mm.
right? So, how is the third generation? Like, this is
Yes.
us, right? Then fourth generation also, like, I think they are passed out, but I don't know how many of them. Then you guys will be the fifth
Yeah.
generation. So, okay, till fifth generation, okay, there is a chance, right? Even Akash, he's in his day. So he was practicing law, and now in his day, you also know him. He's also a friend, I think so. Like, so Akash was also saying, "Bhai, like now it's very huge
Yes.
competition," and I think you will also say
It's
the
a
same
cutthroat
thing,
competition right now because they are.
because people are now. Why I'm telling you, because Tushar, now people are thinking that same thing which was there back in 2016, 17, 14 with corporate law in
Yeah.
India. They think if you are going a corporate law, you are taking a degree in corporate law. Next is, the job is in
Yeah.
your hand,
Hmm.
right? But no, it's nothing like that, because that time people are less, competition was less. But now people
Yeah.
are more. So you have to be in top 10, and from that top 10, only the top 4 or 5 will be getting I think, the proper job. And see, top 10 means, I'm not saying like mug up,
Yeah.
because I've seen many people who have been topper in the university, topper in the class, were mugging up
Yeah.
the things. But with that, you need a little bit, smart work and
Yeah.
practical knowledge, right? So I'm telling a small example of a best I will tell you, like I think you know about that certain recently I'm studying a like a lecture in IIM also,
Yeah.
right? And people also reading their sports law and all. So when I came in the mic, they thought I'm a student there, because mostly they're like there are some are the recruited coach, some are like analyst, and they who are going through this degree, and the prof, like I am the
Yeah.
professor now, right? But they thought me as their colleague, as their student, like a classmate. They was Then I taught them, like I was going through the history and all, and they was MS student, like you are so young and all, and they're saying in the front, sir, we thought you are a student. I was like, so no, there's nothing like that. I'm this advisor and also. See, teacher are something, they are not there to spoon feed you, and this is very bad example in India. Professors make you spoon feed. Teaching is something which is a guidance. Guidance means we will just show you the path. That's just like a map. To show you the road, you have to, but the way you should go it, that's on
Yeah.
you, Tushar. You have to make the way. We have shown you. You will never see. Like, I'm giving the example, like General Manik Shah has fought the war in the
Yeah.
independence war, right? But the plan was his. How you have been, Right. So this is the professor work because we have gained some knowledge. And this is now our thing. We deliver the knowledge, and this is now the student thing. How they will take it and how they will move toward it. This is how the function should be going on.
Yeah, it's great to hear about that. That how I think from my point of view, we should be more focused on the case study basis problems rather than just giving a direct question, because that give you a more perspective. It help you to uh, do more research into in that case study problems. I think that Socratic method is some kind. We should have this mixed bag of Socratic and the case study method. I think that will be really help if the new courses which will come out in the sports law right now.
This who is you are saying Socratic method,
Yeah,
right? So, who is Socrates? Socrates is a Greek
yeah,
philosopher, right? And when we have went through this method and all that time, the society is
yeah.
totally different. Just take a example of like he from Greece, right? And see if you go through a development of law, right? So he went through the civilization, different civilization and all. He found out the Roman civilization also, right? Tushar. So in this civilization, that time we have a codified rule. 12 to 14 rules will be codified in some part, and the full society will be depending on that, and they can move through, like they can move toward it, right? Like that, right? But now world is changing, right? So even some of the US philosophers which we have gone through, like some of the US philosophers, I mean to say, students, their view was something different, right? They used to, if you go through, they mentioned like there can be a manipulation in evidence. They're saying that, right? You can, but nowadays we have something evidence with the recorded evidence, also the video recorded evidence. But somewhere, just look some. I will not say far back, some year back, people doesn't have any thought. So we are now advancing, and so when you are advancing, we can't just stay on the same storyline, which was something around 360 BC or 768 BC, right? We have to change ourselves also. And if you're not changing yourself, like in India, some people will be saying, like I have seen many reported professors also says they're old, but they will not change their tendency. They're saying like, okay, I am in this teaching field for 25 years, 35 years. So do you want to teach me? You are just a kid of tomorrow. But respected sir, just see what's going on in society. What you are thinking is something way back, right? That time when India does not have any still fighter with them, but now also India have a still fighter which is in developing phase. So in the time of still fighter, you are still now thinking of MiG is something that also MiG, not the latest version, something you think of MiG 16, MiG 14 is something different view of that. Like you can't do that. Even cricket laws are changing. Tomorrow, this is something. Today, there is something, right? Just give you the example. Like we have seen something in IPL, like for example,
Shubman Gill.
The ball just touched the wire of the webcam, and then what happened? It was out, but then it was dismissed. The ball was it was told like dead ball, then it was dismissed, right? Tomorrow does not know. You don't know tomorrow something a new rule will be coming on the fact. See, DRS is also a new thing. Just think in our era, if umpire used to say out, that is out.
Before 2008,
but
before 2008, it used to that. But there's a one horrendous series happened with India and Sri Lanka, and we see how this DRS method is not really helpful, especially for the Indian team, because earlier the two nation government body needs to be agreed. Then only they can implement the DRS system.
But now what? Now what you are saying? The proper thing is like you can ask for DRS. Even the batsman can, the fielder can be asked. Both teams can ask, right? So the things are changing, and still now you're sitting in a Socratic method. So obviously you can't. You can ask little bit. So for example, like if I'm asking you, write Bosman Case. So you can mug up from the book and you can write on that. Right. Now I'm asking you, giving you something, plan-based question towards you, right? Application based. So this is a player. This happened with him. what do you want to write? Like, so there is a certain problem with him, right? So just give you a view. Then you are writing something. You are making all these like one article 146, 147, article 46. You are mentioning that. Why is that? So this will give you a full
Yeah.
impact, right? Tomorrow, if you're not in also, see, I'm in a I'm in a teaching
Yeah.
academic field, but you can be chance you will be in a other domain, which is a practicing field. So that will be helpful for you also. This is how we need to develop. Obviously, you are right. So, but we are lacking still now. We are lacking behind somewhere we're lacking behind. So, even in paper of India, we'll find a question paper like mention Article
Yeah.
12 with case law,
Straight ahead questions. Direct questions.
Article 14 with state law. What's wrong with you guys? So then you are saying like why you are not getting job. So I am a topper in the university, still not get. I am somewhere in the job which is like 30,000. So it's not like I will not. I'm not cursing you. I'm not saying something or unless not stigmatizing you. But this is not. This is our education system problem, not your problem. Right today, I have seen most of these like people who bugged out and become like a top in the university, putting goals their neck around their neck. But at the end of the day, they are doing something job, something around 40,000, 30,000. Right, and another side, there will be another student who is not that good in Baka, but that he has practical knowledge. He is somewhere like his point is something around 7.2, 7.5. Right, then he is getting a job in a tier 1, tier 2 law firm. And for whole lifetime, he is earning, which is whole lifetime gold medal. Right. So now you have to now the people have to think on that. That you want to get a gold medal only within that 4 walls, and after getting gold medal, putting that in the Almira or close it for lifetime, or you want to get a gold medal for lifetime. So now this on you, and how you can do that. If you want to think of the lifetime gold medal, right, lifetime opportunity, forget mugging up.
Okay.
Think on the on the paper like as an application way, not in the if you say in software way or the mug up. I will say mug up. So it will impact you more because if you say software, most of the people will not get what is software.
Yeah.
Right. So make it mugging up. So forget mugging up. Think as in application.
Okay. Right. So the next question would be, what are the materials or the books which you recommend to the students if they want to study or get the mere knowledge of sports law? Because as you know that for me, you can only learn the 60% of the from the materials and books, and the rest, the 40 or 30% be depends on the in the future that how the regulations it needs to be done in the future, because it's a continuous evaluation process right now. So how do you say, what are the books which you recommend right now?
See, I will not recommend any book directly.
Okay.
Right. But in market there are many books. Right. Even you know, like I have a book which has launched by Fiki, and Fiki also mentioned something. So Fiki will not come in forward if that book doesn't have anything. So there are many books. Even so, I'm not saying my book is good, his book is bad. Just pick up any book towards sports law, right? But before that, I will say, if you're thinking for the book of like other authors, first take a book which has been written by some international author, right? Because before India, India, we have developed these betting laws and all from Greek era, from like we have developed from Smriti and all, but we have now forgot that that is the greatest example. Public gambling in 1897, right? So Britishers came to India, they have taken our knowledge, they have developed, and they have 2005, right? So you can understand the difference. So I will say first take up some international books, read what is going on all over the world. Then pick up some Indian authors' book. We have many Professor Labditas Gupta, Vidyut Singhania, sir, we just then you think about India. Even like 4 or 5 days back, I was talking with Vidyut sir. So when we are talking, I was thinking as like see for you have to plan when you give a lecture. So now introduction of sports law was going through the history, development and all. We are developing, we are asking the story and all how that time in UK football was against the
Yeah.
monarch. If you are playing
Yeah. Yeah.
football, it was something like you are the resistance people. Then how this ism came in
Yeah.
Scotland, and there was something like the church told to everyone like Sunday if you are playing football, Monday you will be in the hand of
Yeah.
evil. Even in 1616, one person he just gave a banquet for the football players, and then he was thrown to jail. Then after that, how Elizabeth era came. Then after that, I know the Victorian age came because it is the golden age in 1880. How football rule has been set up and how football has been given in the entertainment field. So how I know that because I have went through the international book. Then I came to the
Yeah.
Indian books, right? Now, so if now I think you would ask me the same question, I said if you have a book. So what's the difference between your book and the other book? Second the question comes in the mind also from the people who are listening this. See, the book which I have done is
Yeah.
edited book, right? And there you will find mostly the written by many reputed international
Yeah.
lawyers. Right, I'm not advertising their name also, not in my book. So it's something like I guess it's my book comes something in between the bridge of Indian law and the international laws of sports law. It's somewhere in the bridge. So you have to come, then bridge, then you can come to the Indian law. So this is somewhere my books coming. And that is the reason, like, try to give it something. Even like recently I'm working on another book. Even with me, I have Professor Arun Singh. So basically, it's an edited book of me. So, and they were the one who put me in the front. So even Nishant is also there, and the director is also there. Mr. Pranavera, we are coming our book, and this is the plan. I told them first, and the plan was something like the last assembly in United Nations regarding sports was in something 1960s. And the book came something around 1968, 67, if I'm not wrong, that much. So I'm sure on that. So, what about that book? That is not a book. It was something like a flyer which was given to the United Nations community. Right? You can download that, you can read that. Mostly, you will find how you can set up a society through 56 by 8, a proper society through schools, proper opportunity, and the 56 by 8 clause. So, now my next plan is to develop a first world in this book will be the first in the world, right? On United Nations and sports law. So this is where I am working with, and they're supporting me a lot in this. Was the funniest fact, Tushar, the articles which came for this book also is mostly from the abroad.
Oh, it's good to hear about it.
But not as like there was only I think one scholar I will say came from an academic ground of India. So just think on the mostly from there only one came from India. Right, so you can understand like even that. So it is another example. Why we lacking? Right. So there are many people nowadays going to study sports law in India from India, but still now when when we are giving them platform, right? Still now they are lacking behind. Right, and for them they are saying something like, "What happened if that article is not selected?" To tell you one, just ask. I'm asking you one thing. You even haven't touched your pen in paper, and even you haven't written a single letter on your paper, and before that only you are thinking that whether it gets selected or not. How could you know what is the potential if you're not writing itself? Right? You haven't shown you haven't shown the bullet. So how do you think that what make you think that it touch the target or not? You haven't tried it yourself. Even like say like the journal. I have given the platform. So basically, when the first journal happened, so that time also many people like the young mind like you was not that time in India when it started. So many call was come to me. Is it this? Is it that? That we want to write? We want to like. I was like, okay, yeah, you can. So we have seen how many people are there for the Western
Yeah.
world also. So we're like, so is it? I was asked like, is it necessary? So they were like, no, sir. So then the second question was, have you written anything? I was like, no. Then how can you ask like, will you select it or not? So how the journal goes on and all? If you have not written anything, first you need to write something, right? Today maybe if it not get selected, then you will then maybe the editor will come out like these are the changes you need to come with. You have then you will be taking this in a positive way.
Yeah.
Then you will develop your script according to that, and that will make you practice. But even before writing, you are saying, will it get selected? And in India, we have a concept that everything should be in a plate and will be served. And this is really a bad concept which goes on. Because of education structure has made us think like that. So even that happened with me. First day I went to the university, first class, and I still remember this was an IT class. And the professor was asking questions. I was like, what's going on? Like, so I was late joining. And I was, what's going on? So then the professor told me like, haven't you learned on this? I'm like, sir, I thought you were teaching in the class. He was like, no, sir, this is not India. We don't go it like that way. So you have to learn, then we'll discuss here. And yeah. So see, if someone says something like this, any professor like, no, this is not like it. Some people taking that in negative way. Right? How can you take it? So because many people knows right, how our structures goes. A professor will come, they will give you lecture, you will listen, you will not interrupt anything. But in Western way, it's something different.
It's different.
You have to go through the paper before coming to the class. Right? That is the reason you have been given the module in the first hand. These are the things we go through. Right? But I will say one good thing in Jindal is here people are somewhere they come class after preparation. We give them notes. In many universities, they have also have a practice like they will give you the notes before the class, but no one cares. They will know the professor will give them lecture. And in Jindal, we have a tendency of not lecture. We have a tendency of a class developing, right? Where we will how that goes on, you know, the story, right? Like a proper way of discussion. And this will make you much more aware of the fact because this is not the software view you are showing. This is the practical application. And if you go and discuss, there's something new will be coming in your mind. It happened also with me. It can happen also with you also. I still remember one time it happened like I was saying something and it was something like presenting in the class and Professor Simon stopped me in between and I thought something wrong. Then he came with a paper and a pen. He was like, I haven't thought of this idea. That's the reason you can start your presentation again. He started presenting with a pen and paper, and he was taking note because and this is how this happened because we are in a flow movement of a practical aspect, which is like a discussion mode, not like a bugging up. In bugging up mode, there will be no development in the students.
It's true.
And professor is already developing. They're already reading. They're going through something, writing articles. Now they're already developing. They will be developing themselves. Until you are not saying you are somewhere at 25 year experience, 35 experience, you can do that. And you stop learning. See, there is a saying that learning and the knowledge, you have to learn till the day you die.
Agreed.
Right. So you have to think in that way. And it's much more this need to be developed to the young generation who are going to step in this field because when you be standing in that field, there will be some people who have a 30 to 25-year experience, where you will be having only somewhat 10 month,
Yeah.
1 year of experience, and you have to compete with themselves, because tomorrow after they will
Hmm.
retire, you have to take their
Yeah.
place, right? And it's a universal
Hmm.
truth, right? So how you can do that? You have to learn from each and everything. You can't stop yourself from
Hmm.
learning. Then again, there should be a competition,
Hmm.
and the competition also form with your friend
Hmm.
also. And this competition, what? This competition is somewhere, like
Hmm.
healthy
Yeah.
competitions are there, right? Just like Sylvester Stallone and Arnold
Yeah.
Schwarzenegger,
One of the best example I can say. Yeah.
right? So you have to develop yourself like that way. So again, I have to come back to our mythological thing. So if you remember this thing
Hmm.
quotes, there you have to, like that time there has been a debate. If you go to Indian
Yeah.
histories, debate of the knowledge person, many knowledgeable person used to be sit
Hmm.
together, then they have to do the
Hmm.
debate. Why is that? So you can develop yourself. Even if you go to the Tenali Raman
Yeah.
story of Tenali Raman, there also you have found out, like the story, the Kotia, the king Kotia, there's debates going on
Hmm.
with the knowledgeable people. And so why is that? So you can develop that. So our old generation, like our old mythologies, were much more smarter
Hmm.
than us,
Like. Hmm.
right? So even if you see the society also, so I'm not
Hmm.
coming to that part. So it will taking the somewhere other direction
Yeah.
also. So I'm not taking to
Hmm.
that part. Yeah.
All right. All right. Yeah. So the next question would be, how do you see the role of sports governing bodies become important with the law school to promote sports law? How do you see about this? Because you see, sports law is booming right now in India, and we need some kind of a partnership with these sporting governing bodies, or you can say there are various clubs right now where the law schools and the sport and these sports organization comes together to help to promote the sports law in India, especially. How you see about this?
Well, I will not say anything regarding the
Hmm.
government. It's not going. I will not
Hmm.
say that. Whether it's recent governing policy or it's an old governing policy, yeah, the ruling is somewhat different. People will
Hmm.
say that now we are also trying to uplift the Olympian, also the
Hmm.
Paralympian, right? But if you are in the education
Hmm.
sector, see, started from
Yeah.
1984 National Sports
Hmm.
Policy. Then the amendment of that changed to
Hmm.
2001, and when it changes to 2001 National Sports Policy
Hmm.
Amendment, there was a clause which says to developing the physical
Hmm.
education. So people's physical education is not like you are standing in a field and then you are like you are doing
Hmm.
exercise. Physical education is also a subject
Hmm.
where you have to go to the history
Hmm.
part, you have to go to the sports law part, right? So they are developing something in school level.
Hmm.
Then coming to the upper level, like the sports organizations, government sports policy, I don't cannot do that.
Hmm.
For example, you're asking for this sports
Hmm.
law to
Hmm.
develop. So also BCI need to come
Yeah.
forward with sporting body, National Sports
Hmm.
Federation, right? And then they can establish a proper structure of sports
Hmm.
law. In India, you will not find a university which is properly falling toward the sports
Hmm.
education, right? Mostly the education, like sports education, if you find universities, Maharana Pratap
Yeah.
University or the Punjab University or Sports University, I mean
Hmm.
its name. So they are sportsmen for them like just a playing
Hmm.
field, right? Where people go and practice
Yeah.
and come out after graduation. But let me take an example of this
Yeah.
day. Is this proper
Hmm.
sports education
Hmm.
platform, right? Where the courses are goes on only in
Hmm.
sports, right? Whether it's management, whether it's a law. Do you, like, have you find it like, is there a
Hmm.
single
Hmm.
university or academic in
Hmm.
India which is following the structure of law and management. I will say
Yeah,
zero.
apart from ISDE, I think no. ISDE, and there is a one Real Madrid University.
University is
Yeah,
explained, which is collaborative University of
yeah,
Europa.
yes.
Right. So this is the where we are lacking. Where even we have education, like we have university class, like colleges and all for
Mm-hmm.
sports, but they don't have this knowledge of sports and all. See, even for the athlete himself, you need to gain little bit knowledge in management and in law. I'm not saying that you have to dug in the deep, but 20%, because if it's somewhere you there will be a condition where your representative will
Mm-hmm.
not there. So that time you have to think of yourself. So there is where we somewhere lacking
Mm-hmm.
behind. And then this orthodox traditional view, which needs to
Yeah.
be changed. World is changing and you are still sitting in 18th century. Then it's like you are moving with what I say, like I will not use the word illiterate, I will say unknowledgeable
Yeah.
people. So there is a saying, it is better to have a one knowledgeable enemy than having a 10 unknowledgeable friend. Why is that? Then that if that enemy is your knowledgeable, then you have to develop your knowledge also. We should be matching with him. But if you're sitting with your friend, we're not that much knowledgeable in that capacity. Maybe it's a 10, maybe it's a 20, so we will not develop this. We'll be same with them. So this is where we did, like we are lacking here, and like yeah, government is trying its best, someone I will say, but our society is somewhere lacking. Just think of something like today some Olympian is getting a
Yeah.
gold, right? Then you are running behind him, right? But way before this today, yesterday, in the same event, already some athlete has gold, but he is a
Paralympian.
right? No one cares. Why is that? Olympian and Paralympian both are same, both athletes, and I will say Paralympian has gone through much more challenges than the Olympian. And why saying Paralympian? So we are saying it PN. The word PN itself has a dignified meaning with him, right? And we are no one to judge that. If you are sitting in some Western world in UK or somewhere, they give both of them same respect. But India, we don't care. Recently, I have seen after the Paralympic, the Prime Minister has called the Paralympian also. And that was an expected movement started. So even like after the new policies came on, like the new ministry came on, so I have seen the changes in the middle after the government policy have changed sports. Like they are also seeing little bit of money and all. So obviously, if even Tushar just asked me one thing to you, you are doing something. What will be your motivation factor?
For me, for the betterment of society, from my point of view, because I want to, especially where I live, where I came from Kanpur and Lucknow region. I want, because I see there's a huge potential in this area, because we have Kamla Club, we have Green Park, we have this new Eklavya Stadium which was constructed by the government, and we have good bodies right now. Even the emerging footballing, these regional football clubs are coming up, and I think there's a huge potential right now to promote the sports law by conducting some basic workshops, like the doping issues which is currently happening right now in the grassroots level. This is one of the most major issue right now in the grassroots, where the how this is happening right now.
Now, now tell me one thing. Like you are saying, you want to do something for
Yeah,
society, right? Now take that as your
yeah.
profession, because the athlete and Olympian they're also
Mm-hmm.
profession, right? And you are running in the field day and night. You are sweating day and night, and I am not giving you anything exchange of that, which can be
Yeah.
motivating. So will you get the result?
At some point of time, no. I have to say. Let's to be very honest with it. At certain amount of time, you will get saturated.
So now coming to my event, I have organization with me and many students
Mm-hmm.
are there, right? And Tushar, even if you do small thing, I always
Yeah.
congratulate to them, right? You are doing it well
Mm.
done, and all. Because I have to
Yeah.
motivate them, because everyone is working there with
Mm-hmm.
free capacity, right? Some are getting knowledge, everyone is getting something from that, but not the remuneration, because we don't
Yeah.
generate that. So motivation
Mm-hmm.
factor is one of the greatest things which I have seen in after this latest Olympic and Paralympic,
Mm-hmm.
which was not there. So people even don't take society also, they don't take sports at that
Mm-hmm.
much. They will say cuddly kick, like I think I've seen that movie in
Yeah.
Coolie. Even there is a song on
Mm-hmm.
that, right? Karoge Likho
Yeah. Yeah.
Karoge Nawab. It means if you study, you will become king. If you don't study, like if you play, and nothing
Yeah.
will happen. But nowadays, players are earning more than the normal IT guy,
Yes. Indeed.
regular
Mm.
IT guys, right? And there was a story, I think it's a Frank Lampard, like about his family background, like his
Yes.
father died and also he
Mm.
was so young
Mm.
that time. So his teacher in the class told him like stop playing and start to develop
Mm-hmm.
yourself in education and all. So that 8 years old
Mm.
Lampard told to his
Mm.
teacher that, sir, I am promising you I will earn more than
Mm.
you by playing. And we know the legend. He is one of the
Yes.
legend.
In the English Premier League. Absolutely. An absolute legend.
So this is something. This is something we need to go through. Like people need to think. Like see, today we have example of Neeraj Chopra or somewhere like
Lovelina. Yeah.
Virat
Lovelina
Kohli.
Boronghan.
So we have this
Mm.
example, and in their locality there are many people who are
Mm.
also right, but we don't
Yeah.
take their name. But they are good in
Mm.
studies. They are earning a
Mm.
lot. Why? So we have to think in
Mm.
that way, right? So they also have a say somewhere like two hand, 2 ears, one
Mm.
nose, two eyes. What is there different with us?
Mm.
So sports are nowadays developing. They are the sports stars. So that's the reason
Yeah.
we know. Right? So always try to do something
Mm-hmm.
different. Like sports are nowadays developing, and the way now the government is pushing
Mm-hmm.
forward. You don't know, maybe tomorrow we can be in the place. So see, another example I'll give you, South
Mm-hmm.
Korea. The policy of South Korea has
Yeah.
changed before the
Mm-hmm.
Olympic, and we have seen the impact
Mm.
of that. Right? South Korea were never seen like fighting this
Mm.
much, but this time they have got some
Yeah.
medal. Right? Even for India, we have developed our medal list
Mm.
from 1, 2, 2, 7, 8. Now it's
Yeah.
move on. So it's depend on the government. So motivation factor should be
Mm.
there. It should be needed to be of any, like, not in
Mm-hmm.
sports, every
Mm-hmm.
field. This is how I would say that yeah, government has started. So yeah, so you can ask me like sir, but you just now I mentioned
Mm-hmm.
1984 policy that was there. So see, writing something and implement something is
Yeah.
totally different. Just think about it. You have created something
Mm.
1984, right? Now you amendment that in
Mm.
2001. The gap,
Yeah.
right? Physical education has mentioned in French
Yeah.
Revolution,
Mm. Mm.
right? There was one German physical education
Mm.
teacher just after the French Revolution. He took that concept and put that in Germany. From Germany, it went to US for the education, right? Physical education for both men
Mm.
and women. From that concept of physical education for men
Mm.
and women, they developed Title
Mm.
9, right? And we have think that in 1984,
Mm.
not also 1984, we think about it in 2001 after we
Mm.
edit the amendment. So can you understand the gap between that?
Huge gap.
Huge gap, right? So this is somewhere we are lacking behind.
Okay. Mm. So my last question would be, please tell us about the global sports policy review, because right now you started last year, and it's a big thing right now in India, especially in sports law arena. Because you see, in UK we have Law in Sports, which was started by Sean Cottrel, and then and right now in US there is the conduct detrimental, which is started by the Dan Wallach, and now it was handled by Dan Lust, which I already recorded a podcast with him, the first episode, which will be coming really soon. So please tell us about the GSPR.
So, GS, first of all, let me tell
Hmm.
you one thing,
Hmm.
Tushar. GSPR is not only for
Yeah.
sports law,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? It's a sports for every. I have given platform
Hmm.
to everyone. Whether you are a sports law specialist or sports from a background for sports management or a
Hmm.
nutrition or you are a sports
Hmm.
doctor, it's a multi. This is the reason I mentioned in multidisciplinary
Hmm.
sports, right? So when I started, I found that like in India we don't have a
Hmm.
platform, right? We have some blogger with a people write blog, but we don't have a platform which we can say like we can go for a
Hmm.
journal. And as I was also studied in Western world. You know that I studied LLM in
Hmm.
Western world. I've seen how they go through it, right? How the people are writing this paper and all. So people see, these people were also reading in
Hmm.
India. They also have
Hmm.
potential, but they don't have a platform to
Hmm.
show that. So the thought came to my mind, like okay, if people say like the thought, I don't know how this thought come. People say that we need to develop sports law in
Hmm.
India, right? We need to develop sports law in India. We need to give a platform and all, but no one come
Hmm.
forward. Why is that? Because see, in this world of sports law or like the education world, I
Hmm.
will say like it's about like everyone knows like it's not only sports world. That's the reason I'm talking about the multidisciplinary sports
Hmm.
world. Mostly everyone knows everyone.
Hmm.
Even if you don't talk with him, they know their name,
Hmm.
right? So people are in like some people will be there who will be always afraid of the fact to come
Hmm.
forward because no doubt that it can be chance that it will hit the sentiment
Hmm.
of your fellow,
Hmm.
right? Because it's this education world of course is small, so they take afraid of that. So now, in one hand, you are complaining of the fact
Hmm.
that you are trying to develop sports law in
Hmm.
India. We need to develop sports law
Yeah.
in India. In other hand, you are not saying
Hmm.
anything. You are not doing anything
Hmm.
itself. You're getting
Yeah.
my point. You are not doing anything, or you are not coming forward to do anything.
Hmm.
So I thought, it will something in the Bengali we say like "Ekla Chalo Re,"
Hmm.
right? So it was people say it's a
Hmm.
song, but it's the song is something different meaning of the
Hmm.
song, right? I and bet you mostly 80% of people does not know the real story behind
Hmm.
this song. So basically, this song was dedicated to Subhash Chandra
Hmm.
Bose. This was not a song; it's a poem actually. This poem was dedicated to Subhash Chandra Bose by
Hmm.
Rabindranath Tagore. When he did that, when I know the story of Subhash Chandra Bose was alone when he moved from like he ran away from his
Hmm.
home to the Germany to set up the INA,
Hmm.
right? Another example I will give it to you. Swami
Hmm.
Vivekananda. When he was moving from one place to another, he came to know in the same period like we don't have the knowledge of Hinduism
Hmm.
all over the
Hmm.
world. And people are complaining that fact that we need to develop the Hinduism all over the
Hmm.
world, the knowledge to give knowledge.
Hmm.
But no one is coming
Hmm.
forward. So they came forward, right? Whether you take the example of Swami Vivekananda or Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose.
Hmm.
So and they are the most big motivation factor to me. So I thought it myself
Hmm.
like if a single person like that can come out
Hmm.
and in the odd
Hmm.
situation, so why can't I? So this is how it started. Then like people think it will be something like competition. No, it's not a
Hmm.
competition. right? It is just for a giving platform to each and every individual, right? And this is not only for the India; it is all over the world, right? It's need to be given to the all over the world because see, education is nowadays becoming very
Yeah.
costly,
Mm.
right? Some papers, books are also very
Mm.
costly. So I want to give a platform to them. See, it doesn't see even university if have a 70
Mm.
seat, they can only give 10 to 8 seats to a
Mm.
scholars, right? Who is studying there with scholarship. And due to some 1% difference with you and the other person, you will be in the university, whereas the other person will not in the
Mm.
university. The needy person will be not in the university. Right? Even in some journals and books, you need to subscribe. That's also a high
Yes,
subscription.
subscription rate is something I don't know. I know this is a business model where you need to generate some kind of money, but there are some people who are living in the remote areas who cannot afford a book, especially. So it's sometimes very disheartening to see people. I came across to some of the people who want to pursue sports law, especially where I live, and they asked me that we don't have this much of money. So this is the thing which I think sometimes it's a backfire for this subscription model. So please continue, Subhrajit.
So this is how I started. Like this is the thing which came in
Mm-hmm.
my mind. So another example telling you, like in just give you an example. If you see in
Mm-hmm.
UK, for
Mm.
them subscription £10, £15 is
It's
nothing,
mm. Agree. Mm.
right? But for the Asian countries and some part of the world, it's a tough scenario. People will think before going for a paper, yeah, it's nothing for them, but it's something for the others,
Yeah.
right? Even in some
Mm.
regions and all, in countries like Afghanistan, Mongolia, Bangladesh, Philippines, we have some
Mm.
huge difference will be
Inflation
there.
rate is a key factor.
Main
Mm.
right. This is how I started the GSPR. Firstly, someone has to take the
Mm-hmm.
responsibility. And if you go to the mythology characters and all, like they are even if you are a Marvel fan or a
Mm-hmm.
DC fan, go to the superhero
Mm.
characters or the any characters. If you like, they were also normal human. Like they were also someone in the society who came forward to save the society, right? Without
Mm.
complaining. So I do this motivation fact and like why not I come
Mm-hmm.
forward. Today some people will be seeing that as a
Mm.
threat. But tomorrow when they will listen my view,
Mm.
they will be thinking, oh, this guy is not a threat with us,
Mm.
but he's trying to do achieving
Mm.
something. So even when I started GSPR, like there was someone only five,
Mm.
6 members who came forward. Right? And others were like, okay, they were saying they were trying to develop something like sports law and all in India and this Asian communities where they're lacking
Mm.
behind. But they were not doing on
Mm.
that. Like they was certain way I felt like so even that's not a wrong from their
Mm.
side to
Mm.
start. Because it was new
Yeah.
that time. Right? So some people also will find in GSK who in the beginning was not in that
Mm.
platform. Then they came forward, then they joined. Volunteered themselves. And this is a very good factor too. So and even I am telling you I am targeted to most of this country, like you can see if you read sports law book, if you study
Mm.
sports law book, how many book you will find sports law written about the Middle East?
Middle East. To be honest, I haven't come across, especially any author who come from the Middle East. I think there is one. I think there is one material I think I having right now, which is from the Middle East. But I don't think it's in the form of book. It's a journal which was written by
It's an article.
article,
It's
a
a
small
small
article.
article.
Yeah, it's not a small article, but
Right.
it is also a platform like
It's
you
a small.
started like GSPR.
So,
This is one person.
so article why I'm saying small because in contradict like if you compare them to
Mm,
a book and the
article. Yeah.
article, so this is different,
Yeah.
right? So, so does it mean that this MENA region, the South, the Middle East region, they does not have any sports law.
They have, especially the Turkey, especially the Turkey region. There's a very eminent lawyers from their side.
So this is the thing. So also come to there is a like in the African continent, right? How many books are there written about the African continent sports law? You will not find anything. You will find articles. That it means like it does not have any sports law. And the anti fraud, the age fraud policy, India is the second country and first country is Ghana. They have developed that. So there is an example, but we are not less focused on that field. So my concept is to develop these dark areas, dark zones through the journal. So given the platform. See, for African, like, I'm not saying each and every African countries they don't take. Otherwise, for them also somewhere due to the country condition, paying £10, £15 is more than a struggle. So this is the reason I came up with GSPR, given them platform. Not only in the topic of sports law, that mostly you will find the journals. Like with academics, so you already mentioned that most of the journals are talking about sports law or sports medicine. Right. Then what about the other fields?
Sports psychology.
It means you are saying
there's sports psychology, sports management. Then is.
Are you saying that they don't have any scholars?
They do.
Or something like that.
They do.
So what will they write? They have to go to some different multidisciplinary journals. Which is not tough on the sports law. So I tried to give them a platform with that, like I got bored after listening this complaint. If you are complaining, then come forward, give your feedback. But you will not find a child. Like they are saying in India, like child, let it go. How is it going? Why should I care? Because I am also struggling, right? If same thing is happening with the Indian independence era, by this time we are not being independent. Like if he is struggling, I am also struggling. Let it go like this. Why we got independent? Some people take initiative to come forward, right? They fight against some odd people, took them wrongly, but after some time, they are now the well-reputed faces, right? You go to some country, they will show their land from Mahatma Gandhi and those. And these are the people at that time who were the anti-social.
Yes.
Why they were anti? Because when people are complaining, they think we are getting bored of this complaining. Let's come forward. Right? So they went through this somewhat. Then they took this step. People at that time took him as a wrong. But now, even after the independence, they have seen themselves. The people have taken them as example. Right? King Martin Luther Jr. That time he was someone like who was against the society. But now he is the greatest example in the history. Right? So this is where my motivation factors come from, and this is the reason I given you the reason why I came out with this journal GSPR.
Yeah, it's lovely to hear about how your journey started from Amity Law School to now you are the professor right now in Jindal Global Law School, and now you are also running a side hustle thing which is known as GSPR, which I'm sure.
I mean, GSPR started before I joining Jindal, before I joined like Symbiosis for that particular 4 months of time. So I was in developing this, so you can understand it. Right? Even people does not know about GSPR at that time. I was struggling then. Now still are struggling, but people are coming forward to help me out.
I'm sure a lot of people will come forward so that we can promote, we can help to each other in this sports law community, and we can develop a community where we can have a healthy discussion about the specific issues or the current trends which are happening in sports law. So thank you so much, Subhrajit, sir, for coming for this podcast, for having us. Yes. Thank you everyone for hooking up till the end of this podcast. If you do really like this episode, make sure that you like, follow and subscribe our channel. We also have our official social media platforms where you always find news related to the sports law industry. Also, we have our official website where we publish blogs. You can also find videos and podcasts and all the necessary information which is required for a sports lawyer. We will meet soon in our next episode. Until then, goodbye everyone.